Hello ladies and gents of YouTube, Buck 2013 here again. Been a while since I've made a video, so I decided to make one again today on our last day of November in 2024. I got me a Farmall H earlier this year, and I haven't really properly done any videos besides a few YouTube shorts. It's hooked onto a wagon right now up here by this wood pile. My aunt and uncle burn wood in the wintertime, so they come cut wood and get wood. Got her hooked up to my H right now, but I can still come up here and start it. I got some seasoned wood that was cut earlier this winter. And there's some wood that they got earlier, about a month ago or so. A tree fell down here at the end of the driveway, so we decided to get it cut up, and they put it up here. Here's the old Farmall H. It's a 1940, and I bit to it. I zoomed out here a little bit. I'll probably cut some pieces in from some previous videos I've made but didn't upload. I've actually done a little bit of work to it, but for the most part, she's a pretty good running tractor. The first grief I had was with the carburetor. Well, that might be in the clips I talk about later, but like I said, I'm going to start it up in this video just to show off the old girl running. Maybe when they get done with the wood, they have it unhooked, and maybe we can get a video of someone driving it. But I've had to put a new alternator on it, and I've had the carb off several times. I cleaned the carb up and put a new gasket in it, but that's about the limit of it. It could probably use a kit, because it still doesn't run perfect. When we first bought it, it ran beautifully, but I bet it sat for a long time and got a bunch of junk in the carburetor, and it needs to be probably rebuilt. The tank had a lot of crap in it. We cleaned it up. Got an inline filter in it now too, so that's kind of hopefully going to keep stuff from getting into the carburetor, as there will continue to be sediment falling out through the tank. But I had to rewire it all this last go around. Not spark plug wires, but just all the wires. It's got a regular one wire Delco alternator up underneath there. It's probably the best I can do to show it. It fits in there. I had to order this bracket from Steiner Tractor to make that work, but it works just fine. That was within the last month. The old generator was working, but then something shorted and she started smoking like crazy. I said, that's it. I'm taking it off, and we're going to the new style generator. So everything's wired up. Some of this stuff up here looks like a mess. This is just a ground that I had to make to get this light bulb to work, or light to work, even though it's not very bright. I'm never going to drive it in the dark, or anyone else will, for that matter. But I just like the fact that the lights work, and I added a few extra. This water gauge has those little light bulb built into it, so I ran a wire to it. My oil gauge needs to be replaced. I ordered one. It was the wrong one, so I just put the old one back in. The glass is broke out of it, it's all, but it does work. It doesn't light up, but it turns out you don't need these lit up here, because when you have the lights on back here, since the gauge is up in front of it, they light them up pretty good. Okay, let me go ahead and turn the gas on. Leave it to me. I hit a button and stopped the video. Get the gas turned on. 1940 Farmall H. This is one of the first H's made. I believe 1939, maybe 1938 might have been the first year. The H was the new upgraded version of the Farmall F20, which my grandpa used to have back way before my dad was born. The farm on this farm, I was told, so it's kind of neat having a tractor similar to what he had. If you take the sheet metal off this thing, it looks just like an F20. But I need to get some better cables put on. This thing usually wants to throw a fit when I first start it. Let's take it out of gear. We're in a good spot. I should have the brake set, but it's not going anywhere. I'm actually sitting in a hump. All right, that's off. Pull this switch out back here where my hand is to get fire to the points. And you push in this button here to start her up. And like I said, that starter has been causing some fits. I'm going to push the clutch in with my hand. think it's just because it's cold out. There she runs. As you can tell, it's got a little bit of a spit and sputter to it. I've adjusted that carburetor the best I can, and this is the best I can get it to run. But at least it's running. And I can take that battery cable off. It'll stay running now because it's got the new alternator on it. But I'm going to go ahead and shut the gas off. We had it in the parade. I had some flags hooked up there. Missing a bolt here. She's not perfect, but pretty good looking for an old tractor. You see right there's a sediment bowl. It's got a lot of junk in it. Between it and this fuel filter, we're keeping a lot of that garbage out of there. I need to get me a kit and just rebuild that carburetor, but it doesn't run bad, you know. It's not like it runs terrible. It fires right up. Idles way down. I can idle her way down and she'll just sit there and putter. But like I said, when we first started it up and when we bought it, it sounded perfect. And I imagine it got a bunch of garbage in that carburetor from sitting all these years. Previous owner restored it like 10-15 years ago, and then it sat in the barn. He's passed away in the last 2 years. His son-in-law sold it to me. My uncle actually has a 1952 or 1953 Farmall H. I'm gonna have to sit down here. My back's about to give out. There she run out. And let me shut the switch off. I always unhook the battery because no sense leaving the battery hooked up when they're just sitting around. If you don't unhook the battery, you do want to shut that switch off because it keeps the fire going to the points, and if the points are making contact, well, it'll burn your points out. And of course, this thing was the old style. It was positively grounded, so the positive was actually hooked up to the ground. The ground went up to the starter. I've got that all switched around now. Got hobbled back over here on the tongue of this trailer. My back just won't take it anymore. Oh, okay, I got to sit down here. I just can't stand up very long. But the old Farmall H here is a tractor I've always really liked the looks of. My dad's been kind of a John Deere man his whole life. Always joked how far, you know, he was a John Deere man, didn't like Farmalls. But the truth is, he likes any of them that run. He had a Farmall M at one point when he was probably my age, out here on the farm trying to farm with it. Truth is, you know, it's just like everyone else. Majority of people that give crap about each other's tractors, you know, really it's just a kind of a fun game to most people. Some people are pretty serious about it. Farmall's junk or John Deere's junk, but you know what? I ain't had no complaints. I like the old John Deere's we've got, the old 2010 and the old 70. But I've also always liked the looks of the old Farmalls. My granddad had a F20, I guess, when he farmed early on before he farmed with horses. And when my dad was growing up, my granddad had a Ford 8N, and then eventually had a TO30 Ferguson. That's what he farmed with. Much smaller than an well, a fair bit smaller than the F20, you know. But that's all he needed. All he did was bale hay for people, little round bales, rake hay, mow hay. That's all he needed was a little 8N and a TO30. Wasn't a big time farmer, didn't really do a whole lot of crop farming, but more or less he just put up hay for people. But I don't think I really want an F20. I thought, you know, it'd be neat to have one, but those are a little trickier to get started. Of course, they're going to be a little older, and a little older just means probably going to be more of a headache to maintain. But you know, heck, this tractor was built in 1940s, so I think it's plenty old. I don't know, it's just something about the H is definitely a modernization compared to the F20. And those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, the F20 was kind of like the early day cars. You know, you didn't just jump on it and turn the switch and start it up. You had to crank start it. You had to set the spark to a certain level when you started it, And then you had to adjust the spark. Once you got it started, you had to start it. When I say by cranking it, you had to walk to the front of the tractor and turn a handle to crank it. You had to know what you're doing. You could lose your freaking arm, or it'd break your arm for sure. But of course, this H and all the H's, they have a place on the front end that you can start them with a hand crank. But they came out with electric starts for them, and that's a heck of an improvement from what the F20 had. And then all you got to do on these is push a switch or pull a switch and hit the starter, and she starts up, and give it gas or give it less gas and put her in gear. That's it. You know, I know this seems like an antique compared to most modern day tractors, but it's amazing how things improved over the years. You know, I mean, there's not a lot of difference between the F20 and the H. You know, you still got your basic 4-cylinder tractor. But the way to get it running and keep it running and to use it was just a little bit different in technology. Very minor when you think about it, but it's something that, you know, if you didn't know about it, you couldn't hop right on top of an F20 and it's like, how the heck do you start this thing and expect to go? You know, you wouldn't know what the heck he was doing. Like, oh, I got to crank start it. Well, you also got to set the spark to a certain level to get it running, and then you either advance or retard the spark to whichever direction you need to get it running smooth. And in 1940, and the farmers in the 50s and 60s that had one of these H's didn't have to worry about that. A new farmer didn't have to deal with that. They just jumped on her, started, and go. So, hope you enjoyed the video. And I know it's not a whole lot, but I wanted to make something. I know I've got a few people out there that watch my videos, and it's hard not to share these things. I don't post a lot of videos anymore because I just don't really feel the need to, and don't want to, you know. And I've established that many years back when I first started doing YouTube that I wanted to make YouTube like a career. Well, it's not a career. It's just something to enjoy doing and share with other people in this country and world, for that matter. I've had people around the world see my videos and comment on them, and it's kind of neat. Of course, you know, the hate that's in this world nowadays has just gotten thicker and thicker in the last 10 years, and it reflects in the comments sometimes, but we don't pay much attention to them. We just block them out, delete them, don't pay them any mind, because the world's always full of hateful people. But anyways, guys, I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. I'm blessed. My mom just had an operation, and she's doing well. My dad's doing well. All the people closest to me are doing well. And that's the important thing about Thanksgiving, is to be thankful for the things you have and not complain about the things you don't have, because there's always someone that's probably worse off than you. So always try to be the better person in every situation, and always help people if you can. And keep striving to make this world a better place. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll hopefully see you again later, maybe before the end of the year. Maybe we'll get a snowfall out here and I'll do another video of something. I don't know. Anyhow, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you later.